He spent 20 years turning women's pain into platinum records, until one body cam video turned his image into evidence.
I'm on a world tour.
A what?
A world tour.
Doing what?
A world tour. I'm Justin Timberlake.
This is how Justin Timberlake went from being compared to Michael Jackson to becoming one of the most hated men in pop culture, and why every apology he's issued has only made it worse. Born in Tennessee in 1981, he first appeared on television at 11 on Star Search as a country singer. By 1993, he joined Disney's The All-New Mickey Mouse Club, where his castmates included Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, and Ryan Gosling. In 1995, he became the frontman of NSYNC. Within 3 years, they'd become one of the best-selling boy bands in history. Their album, No Strings Attached, sold 2.4 million copies in its first week, a record that stood for 15 years. But Timberlake wanted more than being 1/5 of a group. When the group went on hiatus in 2002, Timberlake released Justified, an album that sold 4 million copies in the United States and established him as a serious solo artist. His 2006 follow-up, Future Sex Love Sounds, produced by Timbaland, spawned #1 hits like Sexy Back and My Love. He wasn't just a pop star, he was an industry darling with 10 Grammy Awards, 4 Emmys, and a film career that included The Social Network. By the mid-2000s, Justin Timberlake represented a specific kind of success story, the child star who became a respected artist without ever paying the price for his mistakes. But that version of the story left out who was actually paying the price, and eventually those people started talking. In 2001, after years of denying it, Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears finally confirmed they were dating. They were America's sweethearts, the ultimate power couple of early 2000s pop culture. I'm not ashamed at all to say that I love him from the bottom of my heart.
I think it's the best her voice has ever sounded, and it's such a step in a good direction for her. And I think it, obviously you can tell from the first single, it shows a lot of growth, and it shows where she's going with her music. I love it.
Well, thanks.
They performed together, went to award shows side by side, and built their whole brand as a duo. But in March 2002, it all came to an end. When Spears announced the breakup, the media immediately began speculating. Someone had cheated. Someone had been unfaithful. But who? In November 2002, he sat down with Barbara Walters for a 2020 interview that would define the next decade of their public images.
I remember when we decided that we were going to go our separate ways. We sat down, and I promised to her that I wouldn't say specifically why we broke up.
The impression is that Britney did something very bad that hurt you. She had a relationship with somebody else. Was there an incident?
Honestly, I mean, we're not perfect.
That silence was deliberate because while he wasn't saying anything directly, his music was saying everything. 6 months after the breakup, Timberlake released Cry Me a River. The song depicted a man betrayed by an unfaithful woman. The music video featured a Britney lookalike. The message was unmistakable. You don't have to say what you did. I already know. I found out from him. The song peaked at #3 on the Billboard Hot 100 and won a Grammy, marking a hugely successful start to Justin Timberlake's solo career. In many ways, that success was built on Britney Spears' pain. He made crude jokes about their sexual relationship in radio interviews, deliberately undermining the carefully marketed virginity that was central to her image. Britney later described this moment as very exploitative and very weird. When Diane Sawyer interviewed Britney in 2003, the damage was already done.
He has gone on television and pretty much said, you broke his heart. You did something that caused him so much pain. So much suffering. What did you do?
I was upset. I was upset for a while. I think we're both really young, and it was kind of waiting to happen.
For years, this version of events stood unchallenged. Britney was the unfaithful ex. Justin was the wounded nice guy who channeled his pain into art. But empires built on selective memory have a way of collapsing when people finally decide to remember everything. And on June 18th, 2024, at 12:37 a.m. outside the American Hotel in Sag Harbor, New York, the remembering began. The officer who pulled over the BMW that night had no idea who was behind the wheel. He saw what any cop cops seized during a late-night traffic stop, a vehicle swerving across lanes, blowing through a stop sign showing every sign of impaired driving, and the driver was Justin Timberlake. According to the arrest report, his eyes were bloodshot and glassy. There was a strong odor of alcohol on his breath. He appeared unsteady and performed poorly on field sobriety tests.
What are you visiting?
Yeah, I'm on tour.
What are you doing?
I'm on a world tour.
A what?
A world tour.
Doing what?
A world tour. I'm Justin Timberlake.
He said it the way you'd present a passport at customs, not as bragging, but as information that should matter. Yet even after the officer knew his name, it made no difference. For the first time in decades, Justin Timberlake's name didn't work. What the body cam captured next exposed something more disturbing than impairment.
On line first, and then you're gonna put your right foot in front of your left, stay just like that, okay? You're gonna be heel to toe, like this. Heel to toe. Okay.
This is a man who spent 20 years perfecting every move on the world's biggest stages in front of millions. And during the field sobriety test, he couldn't walk 9 steps in a straight line. But everyone noticed what he kept saying while it was going on.
Guys, I'm just following my friends back to my house. I'm not doing anything.
It was like none of it mattered. Like driving while impaired didn't count when you were famous. Like he expected his name to carry more weight than it actually did in that moment. And then it got worse. A silver SUV pulled up and Estee Stanley, a celebrity interior designer and longtime friend, stepped out. She tried to talk the cops into letting him go.
Can you guys please just do me a favor because you loved Bye 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 or like Sexy Back? Like do me one favor.
She was literally using his old hits to get him out of a DWI. The clip blew up online, showing how insulated some celebrity circles can be, but the cops didn't budge.
Stop it. No way.
She wasn't just shocked, she looked genuinely offended. The footage shows her repeatedly trying to intervene, and officers later noted she appeared intoxicated herself. But here's what makes this more than just another celebrity DWI story. Justin spent 6 months fighting to keep this footage buried. His lawyers filed multiple motions claiming it would harm his reputation and violate his privacy. But the judge rejected their arguments, and when the footage finally came out in March 2026, it showed exactly what people had been suspecting for years. This DWI came at a time when everyone was remembering all the things they'd been told to ignore. The Britney Spears documentary had reopened the conversation, how he turned their breakup into career fuel while she was vilified, how Cry Me a River used her pain with a lookalike actress in the video. The Janet Jackson Super Bowl incident, the infamous wardrobe malfunction, was also back in the spotlight, where he exposed her breast on live television during the 2004 halftime show. The FCC received over 500,000 complaints about this, and CBS was fined $550,000. And after the incident, Jackson's career took a huge hit. Her music was banned from MTV and major networks blacklisted her. Justin called it a wardrobe malfunction, apologized for the distraction, and 9 days later performed at the Grammys, where Janet had been uninvited, and he won 2 awards that night. He also performed at the Super Bowl again in 2018, while Jackson never fully recovered from that moment. Over time, a pattern became clear. Much of Timberlake's success came at the expense of women, yet he never acknowledged it or faced real consequences until he couldn't avoid it anymore. In February 2021, after the Britney documentary aired, he posted an Instagram apology. It was careful, vague, and years too late. I am deeply sorry for the times in my life where my actions contributed to the problem, where I spoke out of turn or did not speak up for what was right. But it was the apology of someone who'd been advised by lawyers and publicists, not someone who'd actually reckoned with what he'd done. And then he released an album that proved he still didn't understand what had changed. Everything I Thought It Was dropped in March 2024 to the sound of collective indifference. The music wasn't the problem. The problem was that nobody cared anymore. The goodwill was gone. The Forget Tomorrow World Tour became a referendum on his relevance. Tickets weren't selling. Venues were downsizing. The man who'd once packed stadiums was playing to half-empty arenas. And that's the context for June 18th, 2024. By that point, things weren't going his way anymore, and his name didn't hit the same. When the footage went public, the internet's response was immediate. Why is he just like driving himself when he's getting locked up, maybe he likes the thrill of it. The way he thought his name would get him out of it is wild. Justin pleaded guilty to driving while ability impaired. He paid a $500 fine, had his license suspended for 90 days, and completed community service. His lawyer insisted he wasn't intoxicated, but the body cam told a different story. The legal penalty barely mattered. What hit him harder was the public. Years of keeping up appearances and getting away with mistakes started to catch up with him. The body cam footage didn't expose anything new. It simply confirmed what Britney and Janet had been saying for years. Throughout his career, Justin told stories about other people's mistakes and built a career out of them. But this time, the story centered on him.